everyone, and welcome to Keep Believing with Deborah A. Little. I'm Deborah Little, and the purpose of this show is to encourage and inspire you to keep believing in yourself, believing in the dreams that you have for your life, and to keep believing that you have everything it takes to achieve those dreams. My guest is Miss Loretta Womack. Welcome, Loretta.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming. Loretta is a very good friend of mine. Loretta is a community activist.
Correct.
An author of 2 books, and an organizer who works very, very hard on creating opportunity for the youth in the community. So, Miss Loretta, I want to thank you again so much for being here and being my guest. I so appreciate you, sis. You know I love you.
Yes, I do. Thank you for having me.
I won't be able to do justice for your introduction like you would. So if you would, just tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and bring us up to sort of like current day, whatever you'd like us to know.
Okay.
And don't tell them about this yet, though, because we're going to jump into this.
Okay, well, again, I'm Loretta Womack, and I'm married. I have 6 plus 2 children. That's 30 grandchildren and 14 great-grandchildren now, as of not too long ago.
Great-grandchildren?
Yes. And so I'm from Denver, Colorado, moved out here from Las Vegas when I got married to my husband. I am also the founder of the Determined Grandmothers out here in Las Vegas, as well as the author and activist in the community. And I just like working with the kids and doing for the kids, and my specialty is raising scholarship funds for them.
Right.
So that's my specialty.
So let's just go ahead and let's just jump on that.
Okay.
So you have an event that's coming up pretty soon.
That's correct.
Tell me what that event is, who your target audience is, why you got involved in this, and who you're serving and what the goal is.
Okay. Well, I attend Remnant Ministries. That's the church that I attend, and my ministry in that church is to raise scholarship fundraisings for the students for their scholarships. And so on January 5th, 2019, I'm going to have a scholarship fundraiser for them to give away a couple of scholarships.
Okay. So some scholarships, and what are the scholarships going to be used for?
Well, so there's a couple things, academic and sports.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to mix them up, because you can't do academic without sports and sports without academics. At least that's what we teach them.
Right.
And so in saying that, we want to just give them some kind of appreciation, our way of showing how we appreciate what they're doing, supporting them, investing in them. They are our future. And so that's why we give them the scholarships.
Okay, very good. Now you have a flyer about this,
right? Yes, I do. So again, it's January the 5th, 2 o'clock.
Let me hold that up.
2 o'clock p.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn off the Las Vegas, that's South Las Vegas Boulevard.
South Las Vegas.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And it's on January the 5th. Did you say at 2 p.m.? 2 p.m. Starting at 2 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. And so this is an amazingly worthy cause to raise funds to assist our student athletes.
Some of them are athletes, and some of them are like their academic grades as well. We just like to show them that we want to let them know we are behind them and supporting them. You know, like when they're off to college, their first year off to college, so it's the seniors, and we want to help them with their little care package, or they're moving their books, maybe, you know, who knows, maybe even we also give funds for if they want to take their SATs, ACTs over again and they can't afford to, we take some of the funds for that. And we just want to let them know, we teach them we mentor them actually, so we teach them how to speak, dress, act. We want them to stand out amongst the rest as the young Christians coming up in the church, into the community.
Right. And it's called What's Your Purpose? The knowledge is in the books. Divine One Scholarship Fundraiser on January the 5th at the Hilton Garden in Las Vegas on the South Strip on January the 5th. Starting at 2 p.m.
That's
good work. Good work.
Thank you.
Now, you know, I want to go ahead and address this, because I know, Miss Loretta, that you are it's G and I. It's G and I. Her Miss Loretta's G and I that stamp is on everything that my sister friend does. And so when I call Miss Loretta, I'm start saying, "Hey, Miss Loretta, how are you and G and I doing today?" Right? Tell me about G and I.
Well, G&I came about when I learned that human beings fail you. And so God never fails. So it's a logo, it's my logo, and it stands for God and I. That's what it stands for. And in knowing that, it gets me through whatever I need to get through.
Okay.
And so that's where G&I came from.
All
and
right.
it's my umbrella, it seems like to me. You know, I feel covered with that.
Oh, I like that.
Keep him first, G&I, not ING, but G&I.
That's right, G&I, keeping the faith,
That's
and
right.
keeping believing in yourself. All right, so Miss Loretta, you are also an author.
Yes, ma'am. So I wrote 2 books, and they kind of remind me of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And this book, the first one I wrote, is about the family. And I was inspired to write the book because my father had passed away, and for some reason I just didn't think to ask him. There were so many things I didn't know. I didn't have any. Well, I didn't know my grandparents. They had passed away before I was born, so I didn't have any grandparents on my mom or dad's side. So when my father passed away, I was struggling to put the obituary together, and I didn't want my family to go through that. So that's what the first book is pretty much about. It's about family. I had got to see 5 generations, and but it's also telling my family and giving them direction, pretty much guiding them and pointing them to the Bible and the Word. I didn't pick up the Word, and so I went through a lot of struggles, and I'm trying to teach them they don't have to go through them, let alone to them. And so that's what the book is about. And it's got a lot of colored photos in there of my family and my accomplishments, and I have a lot of determination. That's why the founder of the Determined Grandmothers, that's where that came from. I have 8 determinations in that book. Like I was determined to have a girl after 5 boys, and I was determined to graduate after I got pregnant. You know, before graduating, I was determined to graduate on time. So just a lot of determinations and my accomplishments. The name of the book is Give Me My Flowers While I Live, and I'll do the same for you. I'm not talking about the beautiful flowers in the garden. I'm talking about people and things. You're a flower. Anybody I meet, pass, smile, wink, just any kind of acknowledge is a flower to me. And the reason why I say give me my flowers while I live, and I'll do the same for you, is because what can I do with my children's accomplishments? That's a flower to me. After I'm dead and gone, let me see what you can do while I'm living. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay, very good. And again, I want to make sure that everyone understands that you are the founder of the Determined Grandmothers.
That's right, in Las
Some
Vegas.
grandmothers who are determined to
make sure that we're doing whatever we can, starting with family, mentoring them, guiding them, being an example and a role model for them.
Right.
In the schools, in the communities, rec centers, churches, homes, etc.
Determined to give back, to raise up a community.
That's right.
Whichever community, whatever life you touch.
That's right.
I like that. I like that. All right.
Go ahead.
And your second book? So that's the first book.
The second book is about, so like I said, that's kind of like the first testament. This is the second one. So in that first book, there was a thing that me and my daughter went through. And like I said, I only have one girl. And it devastated me. And I talk about demonic spirits and how me and my daughter went through something. And people don't really believe in it sometimes, but it's real. And so we had to go through an experience where I don't want anyone to experience that again, especially in my family, my generations, with all that, the grands and the great-grands that I just told you about. I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. So in chapter 2 of that first book, me and my daughter went through something that was very devastating to me, and I wrote about it. She thinks I picked on it, but I didn't. But I wanted to just explain how it's real and how to deal with it, and we dealt with it. And I'm still going through some things, you know, to grow up spiritually, to not only teach myself, but to teach them as well. And so it's very spiritual, but it's very real. So that was the first book. So now the new book is called The 10 Demandments. And what I mean by this is we got to get serious. We got to get radical. So now it's not like you better do this, or it's like you better do this or else you're going to pay heavy consequences.
Right.
And so I talk about holding everybody accountable in the house. So it always starts with family. So we're in the community, but it always starts with family. So I'm saying hold husband, wife, children, and self accountable. So in other words, I'll say if you're going to get married, what would be the 10 things you would demand of your husband? Or it would be the 10 things you demand of your wife? Or what would be the 10 demands that the kids would demand of their parents? And then what are the 10 things you would demand of yourself?
Right.
So everybody's held accountable. And then the house would automatically fall in order if everybody would do their part.
Okay. Now, Miss Loretta, I heard you talk about some of your own demons, some of your own struggles, some of your own challenges. Tell me, how did you overcome those? You know, speaking to the audience about keep believing in themselves, keep believing in the dreams that they have. I mean, often, you know, we lose faith, right? And we fall down. And for some of us, we don't know how to get back up. They don't know how to get back up. How are you keep getting back up, sis?
The only way, you know, we say Black Lives Matters, Jesus matters. That's how I got back up.
Right.
Again, when I found out that human beings failed me, I even failed myself, but God never failed. That's how. And there's no other way around it. There's no other way. I've tried them for myself. I didn't go by what somebody showed me or told me, or my parents or my mom and dad. I tried them for myself, and that's why I'm a believer. I've experienced things that I've known that it was only God that got me out of.
Okay, okay. So I heard you say people will fail you, and you failed yourself.
Yes.
So the question for the audience is, how many of you out there can speak to people in your life who you've trusted, who, you know, have let you down? We speak death into our own lives. We talk about who we're not and what we can't do. That's right. And you know, the self-doubt, the self-deprecation, you know, we see a lot of things that are going on around us where we can look at someone and tell they're not really believing in themselves these days. And what you're saying is that is your faith in God.
My faith in God.
And that has never failed you.
Never.
And
Trials.
I will, let me just say, I will testify to that also, because I tell people I am a believer, I believe in God, and I am a Christian, and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and it is based on my own life experiences,
That's right.
not based on what anybody else has said to me, taught me, or anything, my pastor, my church, or anything, because my own experiences I testify to, and I don't care what anybody else says.
That's right.
You speaking to that also.
Well, and first of all, nobody has to validate me but God. I don't have to answer to no one but one. And in saying that, it makes life a whole lot easier. Instead of trying to satisfy everybody all over the place all the time, just one. And if you satisfy him, it triggers down everybody else.
Exactly. Right. Because now you walk around in the glory, living and walking as an example
of his glory and fruit from him that he taught me how to forbid the fruit.
Right. So I will tell you that if you are watching this show and you believe in God, and you know, I sometimes, well, not sometimes, often, Miss Loretta, when I teach my Believe series, I talk to people, I tell them, I open up, I'm Deborah A. Little, and I am a believer. I believe in God, and I'm a Christian, and you know, like I just said, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I tell people that I'm not trying to sell them on my spiritual beliefs. That whether you believe in Buddha, or Allah, or Muhammad, or whoever you're believing in, that whatever that faith and that religion is, to believe in it and to walk according to it, because my studies or my research, because I like to read and I like to study and I ask a lot of questions, has shown me that the foundational beliefs of these religions, because that's what they are, religions, is very, very much the same. And so for me, Jesus is my way, because that's what works for me. But whatever it is that you're believing in, just walk in that. It's all about love. First and foremost, it's all about faith and knowing that, you know, you're living a good life and you're living according to a word. For us, the Bible; for some, the Quran; for others, it's the Torah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But these words are good. And so I'm not promoting Christianity. I sort of am, because, you know, but that's not what Keep Believing is about. I want people to believe in themselves. And there's so many people who will go to church on Sunday and then go home and they don't ever read, they don't ever study, they don't get on their knees, they think that their conversations are prayers, but they're not purposely praying, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, the Keep Believing is about when you find yourself in despair, you go back to the foundation where it all began. And for us, that's God and Jesus. For us, that's what that is.
Well, yes, I have to say that before I start studying the Word, before I had a relationship with God, I knew about God, I knew of God, but I didn't know Him and have a relationship with Him. And the reason why I started having one with Him is because I got sick. And I was sick for like a whole year, and I couldn't get around about a lot. So I got closer and started studying.
Right.
So in this book in the first book I call the Bible my book of rights. I didn't know my book of rights. So I've been married twice, well, 3 times, but prior to the husband I'm married to now, I didn't learn how to be a wife the way God said to be a wife. So that's one of the things I had to be accountable for. So I learned how to do that, and now I'm married to my husband, Loretta Womack, and so I'm learning how to do that, and it's working. So that's what I mean by try it. And I tell people, if you don't believe, try Him.
That's right.
Don't knock them till you try them.
That's
try
the truth.
them. But that's how I became a believer. I had to study the Word, and then live the Word, and then done what it told me to do, and it's working.
Very good. It works. It works. You know, I didn't grow up in a religious house. Also, we didn't go to church on Sunday. I knew about God, but I actually discovered church and my spiritual walk when I was a young teenager. I was maybe like 18, 19 years old when I actually discovered. But the amazing thing is that there was no doubt that God was always there, always keeping and covering me. Now, this is Keep Believing with Deborah A. Little, and it really isn't a religious show or even really a spiritual show. It's about believing in yourself, but something that is prevalent across the board is that the folks that I am bringing to you are all believers. Everyone who has sat in this chair and that I've talked to have talked about their relationship with God and their faith in God. And so I'm just going to let this thing do what it do and go where it goes, because as far as I'm concerned, having come to Blast Pop Media and having met Ace, who is the producer, was just a blessing in my life. And now here I sit, walking in a calling and living a dream that I didn't even imagine.
I did.
And I have had some amazing guests, and each and every one of them have spoken of their faith and their belief. So there's something here that even I don't know about, but I'm gonna let it do what it do. So this is Miss Loretta Womack, author, founder of Determined Grandmothers, Walking with God and I, having a fundraiser to support the community and support the youth in this community. Author of 2 books. Can find them where? On Amazon?
Amazon, yes.
Find them on Amazon.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble?
Ebook, yes.
Okay, ebook. So look them up. Whoever you are, whatever it is that you desire for your life, I will say just keep believing. And if you are a believer in God, then on your knees and start praying. But keep believing in your dreams. Miss Loretta, I thank you so much again for being here. Come on, sis, give me some of this. I love you, I love you, I love you.
Love you more.
Listen, everybody, it's Deborah Little coming to you about keep believing in your life. I send you love and blessings. I'm Deborah Little. Keep believing.